The wrench slipped from my greasy fingers as my phone buzzed against the concrete floor of Tommy's auto repair. I'd been elbow deep in a 2018 Honda's transmission for the past 3 hours, trying to forget that in exactly 2 weeks I'd be standing at an altar promising to love, honor, and cherish Elena Martinez for the rest of my natural life. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The phone buzzed again, then again. "Danny, you gonna answer that damn thing or let it vibrate itself to death?" Tommy called from under the hood of a Chevy Suburban. I wiped my hands on my coveralls and picked up the phone. Instagram notification. Then another. Then 5 more in rapid succession. My blood turned to ice water. There was Elena, my fiancée of 10 months, sitting on Jason's lap at some upscale downtown bar I'd never seen before. She wore the black dress I'd bought her for her birthday, the one she claimed was too fancy for anywhere we ever go. Her lips were pressed against his cheek, champagne flute raised in a toast. The caption read, "Upgraded, Zak's best decision, ever sucked new beginnings." And I was tagged in it. Jason Reeves, my best man, the guy who'd been my roommate in college, who I'd lent money to when his startup failed, who'd crashed on my couch for 6 months last year after his divorce. The same Jason who'd been helping us plan our wedding, who'd given a speech at our engagement party about how perfect Elena and I were together. The comments were already rolling in. "OMG, Elena, you look so happy." Wait, isn't she engaged to Danny? Awkward. Danny's tagged in this. Yikes. My hands started shaking. Not from anger, not yet. From the kind of shock you get when you're in a car accident and haven't felt the pain yet. I screenshot the post and forwarded it to the wedding group chat. All 37 people who were supposed to celebrate our special day in exactly 14 days. Elena's parents, my parents, the bridal party, the groomsmen, her coworkers from the PR firm, my buddies from the garage. Then I typed, "Wedding's off. Thanks for the memories, Elena. Jason, enjoy the upgrade." My phone exploded. Call after call after call. Text messages flooding in faster than I could read them. Elena's mom, hysterical. My mother, confused and hurt. Elena's sister Mia, asking what happened. The guys from work, offering to handle Jason. I turned the phone off and sat there on the cold concrete, staring at the Honda's exposed transmission. 10 years. 10 years of my life with Elena Rodriguez. 10 years of her complaining that I wasn't ambitious enough, wasn't sophisticated enough, didn't make enough money. 10 years of me working overtime to pay for her designer handbags and weekend trips to wine country with her girlfriends. "You all right, son?" Tommy appeared beside me, concern creasing his weathered face. I showed him the screenshot I'd saved to my photos. Tommy whistled low. "Well, I'll be damned. That's cold, even for a woman." "The wedding's in 2 weeks, Tommy. My parents already paid for half of it. $15,000 they don't have." "What are you going to do?" I looked at the Honda's transmission, all its parts laid out in precise order, everything having a purpose, everything in its place. Unlike my life, which had just been blown to pieces by a social media post. I'm going to make sure they both get exactly what they deserve. By the time I got home to the apartment Elena and I shared, a modest 2-bedroom in Riverside that she constantly complained was too small and in the wrong neighborhood. She was already there, pacing the living room like a caged animal. Her designer suitcases were scattered across the floor, half-packed. "Danny, we need to talk." She didn't look at me, just kept shoving clothes into her Louis Vuitton bag, another investment piece I'd helped pay for. "Talk?" I laughed, and it came out harsh and bitter. "You posted a picture of yourself making out with my best man on Instagram and tagged me in it. What exactly is left to talk about?" "It's not what it looks like." "Really?" "Because it looks like you're sitting on Jason's lap with your tongue down his throat, announcing to the world that you've upgraded from your mechanic fiancé to your lawyer best man." Elena finally looked at me. Her dark eyes, the ones I'd fallen in love with freshman year of college, were cold as January rain. "You don't understand the pressure I've been under, Danny. My career, my image." "Your image?" I stepped closer. "What about my image? What about my parents' image when they have to explain to everyone at their church why their son's wedding got called off 2 weeks before the ceremony?" "Your parents will be fine. They're tough people." "They're tough because they've had to be. They worked double shifts at the factory for 30 years to give me opportunities they never had. They've been bragging about this wedding to everyone they know. They paid for your dress, Elena, the $1,500 dress that you're probably going to wear to some fancy restaurant with Jason next week." She had the decency to look ashamed for about half a second. Then her jaw set in that stubborn line I knew too well. "I can't help how I feel, Danny. Jason and I, We connect on a different level, intellectually, professionally. He understands my ambitions. Your ambitions? I grabbed the remote and turned on the TV, switching to the local news. Let's see how your ambitions are doing. Elena's face went white. There we were, on Channel 7's evening segment about social media gone wrong. The anchor was reading her post verbatim, showing the screenshot I'd forwarded, discussing the viral engagement scandal that had racked up over 50,000 shares in 6 hours. My boss is going to see this, Elena whispered. Your boss has already seen this. So has everyone else in the city, apparently. My phone, which I'd turned back on during the drive home, buzzed with a text from Big Mike at Paulson's boxing gym. Bro, you're famous. Channel 4 just called asking for a comment. Want me to tell them you're at the gym beating the hell out of a heavy bag? I showed Elena the text. Even the news wants to interview me about getting dumped via Instagram post. I didn't mean for it to go viral. What did you mean, Elena? What was the plan here? Post the picture, humiliate me publicly, and then what? I'd quietly disappear so you and Jason could ride off into the sunset? She zipped up her suitcase with more force than necessary. I thought you'd understand. We've been growing apart for months. You know we have? Growing apart? Or were you just growing bored with someone who couldn't afford to take you to the kind of places Jason can? That's not fair. Fair? I laughed again, and this time it was genuinely amused. Fair would have been you talking to me about your feelings instead of broadcasting our breakup to the entire internet. Fair would have been you ending our engagement before you started screwing around with my best friend. I never... Don't lie to me on top of everything else. I may just be a mechanic, but I'm not stupid. How long, Elena? How long have you been cheating on me? She couldn't meet my eyes. 3 months. 3 months. While I'd been working overtime to pay for our wedding flowers. While I'd been meeting with caterers and arguing with the venue about table arrangements. While I'd been picking out songs for our first dance. Get out. Danny, get out of my apartment. Take your designer bags and your upgraded boyfriend and get out. She grabbed her suitcases and headed for the door, then turned back. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did it anyway. That's the difference between us, Elena. I would never have hurt you, not even if I'd fallen out of love. I would have talked to you. I would have been honest. I know. Her voice was small now, almost childlike. I know you would have. After she left, I sat in the silence of our apartment, my apartment now, and tried to figure out what I was supposed to feel. Heartbroken, angry, relieved. Mostly, I felt like an idiot. My phone rang. Jason's name appeared on the screen. I answered on the 4th ring. What do you want? Danny, man, I'm sorry. I know this looks bad, but it looks bad because it is bad, Jason. You've been sleeping with my fiancé for 3 months. Look, these things happen. Elena and I, we have a connection. I know you're hurt, but I'm not hurt, Jason. I'm impressed. It takes real skill to betray your best friend and help destroy his family's finances, all while planning to be his best man. That's sociopathic-level compartmentalization. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic? You helped me pick out Elena's engagement ring. You gave a speech at our engagement party about how lucky I was to find someone like her. You helped us plan our honeymoon, and the entire time, you were planning to steal her. I didn't steal anyone. Elena made her own choice. You're right. She did, and now I'm making mine. What's that supposed to mean? I hung up. Then I called Big Mike. Danny, Jesus, man, I've been worried about you. You okay? I'm perfect, Mike. In fact, I think this might be the best thing that ever happened to me. You sure? Because you sound a little crazy? Maybe I am. Maybe that's exactly what I need to be right now. Big Mike's boxing gym occupied the bottom floor of a converted warehouse on the south side of town, the kind of neighborhood Elena always claimed made her nervous. The air smelled like sweat, leather, and the industrial-strength disinfectant Mike used to clean the mats. It was honest work, honest smells, honest people, everything my life with Elena hadn't been. I'd been coming here 3 nights a week for the past 5 years, ever since Elena started complaining that I was getting soft around the middle. The irony wasn't lost on me that I'd been trying to improve myself for a woman who was planning to leave me anyway. You're hitting harder than usual tonight, Mike observed, holding the heavy bag steady as I threw combinations. Want to talk about it? Already talked about it. Now I want to do something about it. Like what? I stopped punching and pulled off my gloves. Like making sure Jason and Elena get exactly what they deserve. Mike raised an eyebrow. He was 62 years old, built like a fire hydrant, and had been running this gym since before I was born. He'd seen every kind of anger, every kind of pain, every kind of stupid decision a man could make. That sounds like trouble, Danny. Good. They've earned some trouble. What kind of trouble are we talking about here? Because if you're thinking about doing something that'll land you in jail, nothing illegal, nothing violent, just creative. I pulled out my phone and showed him Elena's Instagram account. In the 18 hours since the upgrade post, she'd gained 3,000 new followers. The comments ranged from supportive, "You go girl, follow your heart," to brutal, "Wow, what a way to dump someone, ice cold," to creepy, "Single now? Hit me up." "She's loving this," I said. "Look at her recent posts. She's playing the victim and the empowered woman simultaneously. Following my truth, living authentically, sometimes love finds you when you least expect it." Mike scrolled through the posts, shaking his head. This generation and their social media. Back in my day, you wanted to dump someone. You had the decency to do it in private. That's the thing, Mike. Elena's whole life is public. Her job, her image, her relationships. It's all about how things look online. She's a PR professional. Her reputation is everything. So, what happens when that reputation gets destroyed? Mike handed me back the phone, his expression wary. "Danny, I've seen a lot of good men make bad decisions when they're hurting. Don't be one of them." "I'm not hurting anymore, Mike. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in months." That was true. The shock and pain from yesterday had crystallized into something else overnight. Something focused and cold and patient. I'd spent the morning doing research. Elena worked for Morrison & Associates, a mid-sized PR firm that specialized in reputation management for local businesses and minor celebrities. Her boss, Patricia Morrison, was old-school professional, the kind of woman who still believed in discretion and class. Jason worked for Hendricks, Klein & Associates, a law firm that handled mostly corporate contracts and real estate deals. They were respectable, conservative, the kind of place where partners still wore three-piece suits and shook hands on deals. Both of their careers depended on maintaining a certain image. Professional, trustworthy, discreet. You know what the beautiful thing is, Mike. They did all the work for me. The evidence is right there on social media. Elena posted it herself. Evidence of what? Jason's still married, Mike blinked. What? His divorce isn't final yet. I looked it up in the public records. He filed 8 months ago, but the paperwork's still pending. Technically, he's a married man having an affair with his best friend's fiancée, and she posted photographic evidence of it on Instagram. Jesus. It gets better. Elena's been posting about their relationship for weeks, but she's been tagging the locations, expensive restaurants, hotels, weekend trips, all paid for with money that should have been going to his divorce attorney and his wife's alimony. I pulled up Jason's credit report on my phone. It wasn't hard to access. He'd given me his social security number years ago when I'd co-signed a loan for him. He's broke, Mike, completely leveraged. The fancy lifestyle he's been showing off to impress Elena, it's all credit cards and loans. He's about to default on his mortgage. How do you know all this? Because I'm the one who's been helping him manage his finances for the past 2 years. He's terrible with money, always has been. I've been balancing his checkbook since college. Mike sat down heavily on a bench, processing this information. So what's your plan? Simple. I'm going to help them get the attention they clearly want. All of it. Over the next hour, I laid out my strategy. It was elegant in its simplicity, devastating in its thoroughness, and completely legal. Phase 1. Social media amplification. I'd been tagged in Elena's original post, which meant I could comment publicly. I'd respond to every single comment with polite, factual information about Jason's marital status, Elena's cheating timeline, and their financial situation. Phase 2. Professional consequences. I'd forward Elena's post to her boss with a concerned note about how her personal drama might affect the firm's reputation. I'd send Jason's social media activity to his law firm's ethics board. Phase 3. Financial reality. I'd contact Jason's creditors and his estranged wife with documentation of his recent spending patterns. Phase 4. Social pressure. I'd invite everyone who knew us, friends, family, co-workers, to a celebration where I'd present all the evidence I'd gathered. That's... Mike paused, searching for the right word. That's diabolical. That's justice. You sure about this, Danny? Once you start down this road, there's no going back. I looked around the gym, at the faded photos of local boxing champions on the walls, at the old men playing chess in the corner, at the teenagers learning discipline and respect from coaches who'd volunteered their time. This was my world. Real people doing real work, treating each other with honesty and dignity. Elena had never understood it, never respected it. She'd seen it as something to escape from, something to be ashamed of. I'm sure. All right, then. Mike stood up and extended his hand. What do you need? The first phase went better than I'd hoped. Elena's upgraded post had been shared over 100,000 times by the end of the week. What started as a local scandal had somehow caught the attention of relationship bloggers, social media influencers, and even a few minor celebrities who shared it as an example of how not to break up with someone. I'd been responding to comments with surgical precision. Thanks for the support, everyone. Just to clarify a few facts. Jason is still legally married to his wife, Sarah. Divorce pending 8 months. Elena and I were engaged for 10 months, living together for 2 years. The timeline speaks for itself. Wishing them both the best. For those asking about the wedding, it was scheduled for this Saturday. Deposits were non-refundable, but my parents are handling it with grace. They're better people than I am. Someone asked about Jason's BMW in the photos. Fun fact, it's actually leased, and he's 3 months behind on payments. But it does photograph well. Each comment was polite, factual, and devastating. Elena tried to delete them, but screenshots live forever, and her followers were saving everything. The professional consequences came faster than expected. Patricia Morrison called Elena into her office on Wednesday morning. I knew because Elena posted a cryptic Instagram story. When your personal life becomes professional drama, stay strong. By Wednesday afternoon, Morrison and Associates had issued a statement distancing themselves from Elena's personal social media activities and announcing that she'd be taking an indefinite leave of absence to focus on personal matters. Elena was fired. Jason's law firm was more discreet, but the result was the same. A mutual friend from college, Kevin Martinez, worked as a paralegal at a competing firm and had the inside scoop. Hendricks called Jason into his office yesterday, Kevin told me over beers at Murphy's Tavern. Apparently, someone sent them screenshots of all his social media posts, along with documentation showing he'd been using firm resources for personal matters. What kind of personal matters? Using the firm's private investigator to dig up dirt on his wife for the divorce, charging personal dinners to his corporate card, that kind of thing. I nodded sympathetically. That's rough. Gets worse. His wife's attorney got hold of the same evidence. She's filing for full alimony and half his assets, claiming he's been hiding money and conducting an affair. How do you think his wife found out? Kevin shrugged. Someone sent her screenshots of Elena's Instagram posts, along with credit card records showing Jason had been spending money on hotels and restaurants while claiming he was broke in divorce court. Wow, that's thorough. Whoever did it really had it out for Jason. They knew exactly which pressure points to hit. I bought the next round. Phase 3 was already in motion. Jason's credit cards were being canceled one by one as creditors realized he'd been misrepresenting his financial situation. His mortgage company had initiated foreclosure proceedings. His lease company was repossessing the BMW. But Phase 4 was going to be the masterpiece. I'd sent out invitations to everyone in our social circle for a celebration at the Riverside Community Center on Saturday, the day that was supposed to be our wedding. The invitation was carefully worded. Join me for a celebration of new beginnings. Come hear the real story behind the viral breakup that's been all over social media. Refreshments provided. Bring your phones. You'll want to record this. 53 people RSVP'd yes, including Elena's parents, Jason's estranged wife Sarah, most of our mutual friends, and several people I'd never met who'd apparently been following the drama online. Elena tried to call me Thursday night. Danny, please. This has gone too far. Has it? Because from where I'm sitting, it's just getting started. I lost my job. Jason lost his job. We're both broke. Isn't that enough? You lost your job because you posted evidence of an affair on social media and it went viral. Jason lost his job because he was using company resources to cheat on his wife and lie in divorce court. I didn't make you do any of that. You're destroying our lives. No, Elena, you destroyed your own lives. I'm just making sure everyone gets to see the wreckage. What do you want? Money? An apology? What will it take for you to stop? I thought about that. What did I want? I want you to understand what it feels like to be humiliated in front of everyone you know. I want you to experience the consequences of your choices, and I want everyone who knows us to see exactly who you really are. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Every day for 3 months, you chose to lie to me. You chose to cheat with my best friend. You chose to plan your exit strategy while I was planning our wedding. You chose to announce it on social media instead of having the decency to tell me in private. She was crying now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. You're sorry your perfect plan backfired. But you're not sorry for what you did to me. That's not true. Prove it. Come to the community center on Saturday. Stand up in front of everyone and tell the truth about what you did and why you did it. Take responsibility for your choices. I can't do that. Then we have nothing else to talk about. I hung up and finished packing the presentation materials I'd been preparing all week. Screenshots, financial records, timeline documentation, witness statements, everything organized in a neat binder with tabs and page numbers. Elena was right about one thing. This had gone far beyond a simple breakup. It had become something else entirely. A reckoning. A lesson. A demonstration of what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. Saturday was going to be very interesting. The Riverside Community Center looked exactly like what it was. A 1970s municipal building with fluorescent lights, beige walls, and industrial carpeting that had seen better decades. I'd rented it for 4 hours and set up folding chairs in neat rows facing a small stage with a podium and a projection screen. By 2 p.m., the room was packed. Elena's parents sat in the front row, looking confused and uncomfortable. Her father kept checking his phone, probably hoping Elena would show up to explain herself. Her mother clutched a tissue and stared at the floor. Jason's estranged wife Sarah had arrived early and chosen a seat in the back corner, flanked by 2 women I didn't recognize, probably her attorney and a friend for moral support. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. My parents sat in the middle section, dressed in their Sunday best despite this being Saturday afternoon. My mother had brought a casserole, because that's what you do in a crisis. You bring food, and was setting it up on the refreshment table I'd arranged along the side wall. The rest of the crowd was a mix of people I'd known for years and complete strangers who'd apparently followed the drama online and wanted to see how it ended. Several people were already recording with their phones. Big Mike stood near the back door, arms crossed, looking like a bouncer. I'd asked him to come for moral support, but also because I suspected this might get ugly before it was over. At exactly 2:15, I walked to the podium and tapped the microphone. Thank you all for coming. I know this is unusual, but then again, the past 2 weeks have been pretty unusual for everyone involved. A few nervous chuckles from the crowd. Most of you know me as Danny Torres, mechanic, Elena's ex-fiancé, and apparently the victim of one of this year's most viral breakup posts. What you might not know is the full story behind that post or the events that led up to it. I clicked the first slide of my presentation. Elena's upgraded Instagram post appeared on the screen, larger than life. This photo was posted 13 days ago. Elena tagged me in it, along with 36 other people, announcing that she had upgraded from our relationship to a new one with Jason Reeves, my former best friend and the best man at our wedding, which was supposed to happen today. I let that sink in for a moment. Now, I could stand up here and talk about how hurt I was, or how betrayed I felt, or how embarrassing it was to find out about the end of my 10-year relationship via social media, but that's not why we're here. Click. Next slide. A timeline I'd created showing Elena's Instagram posts over the past 6 months. We're here because I think you all deserve to know the truth about what really happened and what kind of people you've been supporting and defending. I walked them through it methodically. Elena's posts from expensive restaurants she claimed to be at with girlfriends, geotagged at the same locations and times as Jason's posts, hotel photos from work conferences that coincided with Jason's business trips, gifts and jewelry that appeared in her photos but that I'd never bought her. The affair began 4 months ago, not 3 like Elena told me. I have credit card records showing Jason's payments to hotels, restaurants, and jewelry stores. I have text messages recovered from Elena's old phone, the one she asked me to fix last month, showing their planning and coordination. Elena's mother was crying openly now. Her father looked like he wanted to leave but couldn't move. But the affair itself isn't the most interesting part of this story. The most interesting part is how they plan to handle the aftermath. Click. Screenshots of text messages between Elena and Jason. Elena. Danny's so predictable. He'll be hurt for a few weeks, then he'll move on. He's not the type to make a scene. Jason. We just need to control the narrative. Make it about you following your heart, not about us cheating. Elena. Exactly. I'll post something romantic but classy. Everyone will see that we're in love, and Danny will look bitter if he tries to cause drama. The room was dead silent now. They counted on me being too embarrassed, too heartbroken, or too classy to fight back. They assumed I'd quietly disappear and let them rewrite history. Click. Financial records. What they didn't count on was me having access to Jason's financial information he'd given me years ago when I was helping him manage his money. Information that shows he's been funding this affair with money that legally belongs to his wife, whom he's been lying to in divorce court. Sarah made a small sound from the back of the room. Her attorney was taking notes. They also didn't count on me understanding how social media works. See, when you post something publicly and tag people in it, You're not just sharing with your friends, you're creating evidence. Permanent, time-stamped, geotagged evidence. I spent the next 20 minutes walking through every lie, every deception, every moment of calculated betrayal. The room grew more uncomfortable with each revelation. Some people were recording everything, others were staring at Elena's parents with obvious sympathy. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is petty. This is revenge. This is a man who can't let go. I paused, looking out at the crowd. You're absolutely right. This is revenge. But it's not petty, and it's not about me not being able to let go. This is about consequences. Click. The final slide. A photo of my parents at our engagement party, beaming with pride. My parents spent $15,000 they didn't have on a wedding for a woman who was planning to humiliate their son on social media. Elena's parents spent months planning and preparing for a celebration that she knew wasn't going to happen. Jason's wife has been fighting for a fair divorce settlement while he hid assets and lied about his income. I stepped away from the podium and walked closer to the audience. Elena and Jason hurt a lot of people with their choices, but they only got caught because they were arrogant enough to think there wouldn't be any consequences. They thought they could control the story, manage their image, and move on without anyone holding them accountable. The back door opened. Elena walked in, followed by Jason. They both looked terrible, exhausted, desperate, defeated. The room buzzed with whispers and phone cameras swinging in their direction. Elena, Jason, I'm glad you decided to come. Elena stepped forward, her voice shaking. Danny, please, stop this. We get it. We made mistakes. We hurt you. But this is destroying us. Is it? Or is it just showing everyone who you really are? Jason tried to step between us. This is insane, Danny. You've made your point. You've humiliated us, cost us our jobs, ruined our reputations. What more do you want? I looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time since this all started. Jason Reeves, who'd been my roommate, my groomsman, my friend for 15 years, who'd sat at my kitchen table countless nights, eating meals Elena had cooked, drinking beer I'd bought, asking for advice about his marriage, his career, his money problems. I want you to understand that actions have consequences, Jason. I want Elena to understand that you can't just upgrade people like their cell phone plans, and I want everyone in this room to understand exactly what kind of people they've been defending. Elena was sobbing now. We're sorry. We're so sorry. We never meant for it to go this far. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. If your plan had worked, if I'd quietly disappeared and let you rewrite history, you'd be planning your engagement party right now. I walked back to the podium and picked up the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming today. I hope this has been educational. I hope you've learned something about the importance of honesty, loyalty, and treating people with respect. I looked directly at Elena and Jason. I hope you've learned that when you betray someone, you don't get to control how they respond. You don't get to manage the narrative, and you don't get to avoid the consequences just because they're inconvenient. The room erupted. People were talking, shouting, recording, trying to get closer to Elena and Jason. Sarah was pushing through the crowd toward Jason, her attorney close behind. Elena's parents were trying to reach their daughter. In the chaos, I slipped out the side door. Big Mike was waiting for me in the parking lot, leaning against his truck. Feel better? He asked. I thought about it. Did I feel better? Elena and Jason were finished. Professionally, financially, socially. Their reputations were destroyed. Their relationship, built on lies and betrayal, would probably implode within months. Everyone who knew us now understood exactly what had happened and who was responsible. Yeah, I said. I do feel better. Good, because that was the most thorough character assassination I've ever witnessed, and I've been around a long time. They earned it. Maybe, but what now? You got your revenge. What's next? I looked back at the community center, where people were still streaming out, most of them on their phones, probably posting about what they'd just witnessed. Elena and Jason's humiliation would be online within hours, shared and reshared until it became another viral moment. But this time, I controlled the narrative. Now I go back to work, I fix cars, I live my life, and I remember that some people will always show you exactly who they are if you pay attention. And Elena? I shrugged. Elena got what she wanted. She upgraded. She's just discovering that upgrades come with a cost. As we drove away, I could see Elena and Jason in my side mirror, standing in the parking lot, surrounded by the wreckage of their choices. They looked small and lost and completely alone. It was exactly what they deserved.